Hello and welcome to PJ Does Life. I'm PJ, this is me doing life, as ever, as it always is.
They're always the same, always the same.
I haven't really talked about veganism. I've been a vegan for about 4 months now. One day I'll do a video about why that is. But today we're going to start by looking at a video about pigs. Oh look, it's Dominic West. I like Dominic West. I like that thing he was in The Wire, you know, where he plays Maverick Jimmy McNulty, yeah? God damn it, McNulty. Avon Barksdale is one of the most respected members of the community. But Chief, I have proof that he's head of a drugs thing here in Baltimore. I don't want to hear it, McNulty. You're out of here. Why are you still here? Hey, that's an idea, Chief. Maybe we could put a wire on him. Maybe we can. I liked him in The Wire. With his accent.
I love eating pork.
Well, it's a good start. I'm sure you do love eating pork. Carry on.
And in fact, it's my favourite thing.
Not looking good for the pigs so far, is it?
But I went round a pig farm recently and it was so horrendous to me because their conditions are inhumane. There's nothing there that relates to them having a consciousness, and I don't think animals are commodities.
Ah, so he doesn't think animals are commodities. Too bad for you, McNulty, because the rest of the world disagrees with you. I'll tell you why animals are a commodity. In the same way that slaves used to be a commodity, is because it's not called the Animal Welfare Agency. It's not called the Animal Club. It's called the Animal Industry. Industry. An industry is a business. A business are there for one thing. Can you guess what it is? Money! Green, lucre. So it doesn't matter how you package it. Animals are going to be commodities because they are products. And by the way, a couple of 100 years ago, we'd be having the same conversation about, slaves are not products. Well, they are, because it was a slave industry. It's a business. End of the day, business has one sole purpose. Can you guess what it is yet? Can you guess? Can you guess what it is yet?
I think they have a consciousness and
Well, I think they have a consciousness too, Jimmy McNulty. I'm only sure that pigs have a consciousness in as far as I'm sure that we have a consciousness. Whatever a consciousness is. They're certainly aware of their existence. They're certainly sentient, as are we.
although I'm happy to kill animals and eat them, I'm not happy for them to live in torture.
Well, too bad, Jimmy McNulty. Because the thing about this video, something that really annoys me, which is although Jimmy McNulty here is not happy for them to live in torture, neither am I. Most people don't think that they do. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I was saying, why didn't you eat this pork? And I said, well, because I won't eat something that lives in torture. And he said, it didn't. It lived in a field. How do you know? Because it's British made. And so there's this great conspiracy, and a lot of people being sucked in by this idea that somehow we produce humane meat. Even the words produce products, humane meat, it sanitizes the whole idea of it ever having been a being in the first place. So actually, videos like this really annoy me because it gives this idea that if only we could make the whole industry humane, then it would be fine. It's just riddled with problems. Number one, demand. Now, in a business, you have demand, and when you have demand, you have opportunity to make more money. And when you can make more money, the inevitable path to cruelty is there, because you have to make things that are more efficient, things that churn through bodies a lot more quicker, because these are not beings, this is a product. And that's the central thing, that none of these treatment people, although well-meaning as they are tackling the central problem. The animal, the being, becomes a product. That's the change that has to happen. It's a change that happened in the case of slavery, and it has to happen the same with animals.
So that's why I'm up for this campaign.
Turn your nose up to pig cruelty.
Now, how exactly do you turn your nose up to pig cruelty, Jimmy McNulty? Because, apart from, as he said, 75% of the meat bred, grown, can we say, produced in the UK. By the way, what right do we have exactly? I mean, seriously, what right do we have to take our fellow beings and enslave them and then held them in captivity and eat them? What right do we have? Because even the stuff that's RSPCA assured, I have the RSPCA guidelines here. Now, the amount of floor space for a fully grown pig, not a sow, is 0.8 square meters per pig. 0.8 square meters, less than a square meter per pig. That's the humane guidelines of the RSPCA. See, most people in our society have absolutely no idea where their meat comes from, and they don't care. It's like they've got other things to worry about. All right. But the thing is, if you do know about this stuff, if you do know where it comes from, you obviously don't want to be a part of it. Hence why I'm here, hence why I'm a vegan. So let's have a look at another celebrity who's joined this campaign.
If you think most of the...
It's Jeremy Irons, Hans Gruber's brother. Well, let's hope this isn't some kind of risky thing where we have to rush around the city solving puzzles.
If you think most of the pork sold in this country has been raised outdoors in spacious fields dotted with hutches, you're in for a shock.
No, you're not in for a shock, Jeremy Irons. You're in for the bloody obvious. It's a product. Product needs efficiency. Here's the problem. We've got demands. We've got 7 billion people around the world, however many million people here, eating meat every day. How are you going to produce that stuff humanely? You cannot do it. You need to have these factory farms to make the amount we want to eat. That's the problem. It's a structural problem. It's a systemic problem. It's a cultural problem. It's this want, need, eat meat. This is inevitable. This is not a shock. And if it's a shock to you, that's the depressing thing. It probably is a shock to most people who watch this.
The animals are so overcrowded, stressed and unhealthy that they need routine doses of antibiotics just to keep them alive.
Alright, now let's take these pigs, have a look. You can sort of, and it shows a sign of our times, you can sort of look at these images and be quite dispassionate about it because you've been brainwashed into this human-animal divide, specifically this human farm-animal divide, where their lives don't matter. If a giraffe gets shot in a zoo, yes, that matters. If a lion gets shot by a bloke out hunting, yes, that matters. But there are so many of these that none of them matter. None of them matter. And it's the sanitization of this distance, this wall they put between us, between farmed animals and humans. The farm animals don't matter because we made them, we bred them, so we can do what we like with them. And if you look at these images with any kind of objectivity at all, they'll just start to look like these images. Now these images, you look at them and you go, oh, well, these are terrible. But these aren't. Now why is that?
Nearly 30% of all antibiotics in Britain are being given to pigs, almost entirely in animal factories. And as a result, more and more diseases are becoming resistant. Successive governments fail to enforce welfare standards on our behalf, or limit antibiotics, or control the noxious gases from the overcrowded sheds. Corporate owners of animal factories have an unfair advantage over small farmers, as their products are only cheap because the real costs are paid for by the broader community, that's us. So please, join a growing worldwide boycott of animal factories. Only buy high welfare pork from real farms. Pay a bit more, for humanity's sake.
And perhaps for the sake of those poor bastards. Look, I'm all for farms, not factories, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Because what happens? What happens when we ban factory farming altogether? We've got farm factory. Can farms sustain the amount of demand that we have? No. And here's the main problem. Here's a huge problem they don't even address in this. What happens when you replace all the factory farms in the world into, I don't know what people call, like big proper farms, open air farms? You hit a major problem. Because as catastrophically environmentally damaging as farming is, and by the way, some quick statistics for you, it's the number one leading cause of climate change. It is the number one, 90% of the Amazon destruction is clearance for farming. It is the number one cause of carbon dioxide rises. It's the number one cause of nitrous oxide rises. It's number one cause of problems by methane. It's number one cause of basically everything. So, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, if you are somebody who recycles, somebody who drives instead of who cycles instead of drives, somebody who limits their aeroplane transport, but at the same time you're eating meat, especially free-range, humane meat, then you're the central part of the problem. And it's the equivalent of burning down your own house whilst at the same time saving and polishing a little porcelain doll and saying, here we go, got my little porcelain doll, I got my cup. Look, I got my cup, I'm saving the cup. Hey, cheers. Thing is, there is a direct correlation with the humanity. I'm going to attempt to graph. Here's the line of the humanity of the meat. And as the humanity of the meat goes up, so does the damage onto the environment. So here's the problem. If we all say, okay, let's ban factory farming, let's just go on to freshly farmed animals, the demands are so huge, so enormous, that the damage to our environment would be even more catastrophically awful than it is now. And it is already far too much. So this stuff is not enough. It's nowhere near enough. We have to change our habits. We have to change the way we live. The best thing you can do, the best thing, here I am, the best thing you can do is get onto a vegan diet. It's that simple. Oh, but I can't get enough protein. Yes, you can. Oh, but I can't get enough vitamin B12. Yes, you can. And even if you're worried about that, just take some supplements. You know, we've got science, we've made supplements. Oh, but I'd rather get it naturally. What, you'd rather get it naturally by pork and animal products that's been pumped full with antibiotics and hormones and everything else? Not so natural, is it? The idea that any of this is natural, the idea that any kind of farming method, manufacturing of animal products is natural is insane. I mean, Christ. Ugh. Alright, that'll do for now. I'm PJ, this is me doing life. Go and do life.